Hey, what's up? This is Chris again. I hope you all are well. This is another video, the last one in the series of these high dynamic range edits, manual edits. Just to give you a little feeler for it, if you didn't watch the other videos, basically we're going through these photos of this house that I had the opportunity to take, and just going through how I do the edits on these. In this particular example, I have a very contrasty image. So if you can imagine, the point is that the whole the camera has a limited dynamic range, okay? And so when it gets too dark, the images start to disappear and you start to lose detail. And similarly, when it reaches the high end of the dynamic range, which is the brightest parts, you lose detail in the brightest parts. So instead of seeing a nice blue sky here, you see a white overexposed sky. Okay, so in this example, or in these exercises, what we're trying to do is to balance all that so that we can get a nice picture. So this is my final edit for this picture. Okay, and we're gonna see if we can get it even better than that, but we're gonna start with these series of pictures. So in order to get the right combination, or to get the right image, we want to get everything in detail in individual pictures. Okay, and what I mean by that is the following. So if you see this picture, you can see a lot of the detail here in the front, especially with these chairs. You can see everything very detailed. Okay, if I go to the next one, it's a darker image, so you can see a lot of detail in these plants and on the rooftop, right? And if I go even further, I can see more detail on the color of the sky and the background here with the water, right? And then if I go to the brightest one, I'll see a lot more detail in the background here in the darker areas, right? So essentially the exercise is in kind of masking with Photoshop. And so by going through each picture and masking each picture with the next, we're going to reveal some of these assets that we have in here, and we're going to go ahead and get a nice and balanced picture. So I'm going to start by exporting these pictures onto Photoshop. So essentially I'm going to select these 4 photos that we're going to edit, and I'm going to right click and edit in Photoshop, edit and open as layers in Photoshop. Okay, so we're going to head and click that. I've already done that, so I'm going to skip to Photoshop. Okay, cool. So here we have all the photos. This is the bright one. This is the super dark one. This is a little brighter, and this is that first picture. Okay, so I always like to start with this picture right here. So first of all, I'm going to compare the 2 dark pictures, because I want to see if I really get a big difference in the detail here. So basically I could probably use, the rooftop is too dark on this one, so that would be much more acceptable for the picture. Okay, so I'll use this rooftop, I'll use this background, and I'll use the background here of the inside. And on these 2 pictures, the house looks actually pretty nice. Or on that first picture, actually looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to start with the first and second picture. So between the first and between those 2 pictures, the first thing I'm going to do is align all the pictures. So I'm going to select all these layers. I'm going to go to edit, and auto align layers. With automatic is just fine. And give it a second to do its thing. Okay, so now I'm going to start with the first two pictures. So it's going to be this one and this one. Okay, and basically the only thing that I want from this is going to be all the bright parts except for the sky and the water over here. Okay, for that I'm going to use this one. Okay, so on this one I'm going to use, let's see, let me see the first picture. Yep, I'm just going to do the rooftop. Okay, alright, so that should be fairly easy. Except for we can't tell where the rooftop ends here, right? So we're just gonna have to reverse it here. Or actually, we can just make our selection here before we do the mask. So I always like to use the pen tool just because it's very precise, and I'll show you a little bit of how to use that pen tool. But for right now, I'm just going to zoom into the area where we're going to do the selection. Remember, we're only doing this rooftop, so everything here, here, up to here, all that. Okay, so pen tool. So the pen tool, you basically select and by establishing dots or different anchor points onto the image. Okay, so I'll show you. We'll start it right here, where there's a straight line. So I do a dot there, and then I click over here. That's not so straight, isn't it? Oh boy. Okay, let's start over here. So, you know, in my opinion, it doesn't have to be that precise, or you can be precise as you want, but you can always make the corrections later if you miss a spot or something. So I'm just gonna kind of lightly go over these lines here, kind of following this gutter line right here, the bottom of the gutter, and anchor it over here. How about the tree? Should we leave the tree alone or not? It's the $1 million question. I'm gonna just go through it, okay? I go to this little balcony and to the edge over here, then right back down this gutter. That's not selected, right? Is it? Okay. Undo. Let's redo that. Okay, and then I'm back to the beginning here. Okay. So once the selection's made, I'm gonna zoom out. I'm gonna go ahead and right-click on within the selection and make selection. Once the selection is made, okay, I'm gonna enable my top layer since I already have the correct selection, and then I'm gonna mask it. Okay, mask. Okay, and we want actually the reverse mask, so we're just gonna go ahead and do Command inverse. Boom. So that's Command I. Okay. Cool. So now that I see that tree, that may not be such a great idea, but we'll just keep building our picture and see how it ends up, or how it turns out, okay? Alright, so now that we've made use of that second picture, I'm just going to go ahead and create a flat copy. Okay, so that's So that's Option Command Shift E, and as you can see, I've created a copy of what we just did. But now it'll be easier to mask onto the other picture. So I'm going to go into the darker one. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all the bright areas where the water is. Okay. And that's going to be a little more challenging in this area, so we'll really have to work that hard. So let's go ahead and start selecting here. I'm going to zoom in, make sure I get them right. Oh, good. We have that reference, so it's a straight line. Go down here. We just basically want to isolate the sky. Okay, so we're probably going to go over that rooftop again. Once we go over the tree, it'll probably fix that whole difference there. Okay, so that's the top there. I'm going to make this right click, make selection, and I'm going to do another mask. It's always going to mask to black, so you have to change the color of your layer. Command inverse. There we go. Okay, cool. We'll work on the trees here in a little bit and make sure that that's okay. Oh goodness. Okay, now we're gonna have to work this part. So I guess I'll brush this part over here, and then this part I can select. We're just going to do the brighter parts. Oh, actually, no, we're going to go through the posts and everything here. I don't want to mess too much with the statue. I'll give myself a lot more work. So we'll just kind of try to go around it as best as we can. You know, at times I will go in really, I'll zoom in a lot so as to get every single detail. And ideally, that's what you want to do. You want to be as precise as possible. But I am going to skip this plant right here. So that'll give me a lot more work if I don't. So if I'm covering this whole area, might as well do it here. And then there we go, select. So now that we're adding to the same layer mask, what we'll have to do is not mask again, but instead just fill in with the color black. We have a white mask, so we're going to color in black. There we go. So at this point, obviously, we see that these are too dark. We're gonna have to work those, okay? The areas that are too dark, we're gonna have to work. So in this case, I might as well do a little bit of it here. So I'm gonna grab a brush and inverse this, and that's pretty good. So I'm gonna really like try to get rid of those edges. I'm not gonna go too hard on it. I'm just gonna go over the parts that look so unnatural, right? And maybe these plants over here, so they don't look so. Okay. This line looks pretty. Okay. So as we zoom out, let's start seeing what it looks like. This tree is too dark. We're gonna have to fix that. Okay. So in our photos. Okay, so at this point, let's see. We're probably gonna refer to the first photo again. Okay, I'm going to make another copy of this. Okay. Now let's look at the bright picture. That's too bright, of course. Okay, so we'll use this one instead. Cool. So now what I'm looking at is, let's see here. It's too bright for my taste. What do you guys think? So I'm not going to use that one. That's the one. Okay, so it's the last one. Okay, so this is the tree. I'm just gonna mask in the tree, okay? So I put mask, and then inverse to black, and then, I'm sorry, no. So then we're just gonna paint in black so that the bottom reveals itself and it's a little bit brighter and it kind of blends with the rest.